Jason Statham laughed. Not a friendly laugh. Not a joke. A sharp, mocking laugh that cut through the noise. He shook his head slowly, like he'd just heard something ridiculous. Like it wasn't even worth taking seriously. That soft Aikido stuff? Come on. The word soft hung in the air. A few people in the crowd laughed with him. Not loud, but enough. Enough to feel it. Enough to make the moment tilt in his favor. Jason stood relaxed, confident, comfortable being watched. This was his space. His energy. Steven Seagal didn't move. No reaction. No smile. No defense. Just stillness. The kind of stillness people don't notice at first. Jason leaned back slightly, enjoying it. He waved one hand casually, like brushing something away. Aikido? He said again, almost amused. That's not real fighting. More chuckles. More noise. Cameras zoomed in, waiting for something. A response. A comeback. An argument. Nothing came. Steven just stood there. Calm. Quiet. Unreadable. The contrast was uncomfortable. Jason's laugh faded into a grin. He expected words. He expected emotion. Instead, he got silence. The kind that makes people shift in their seats. The kind that makes confidence feel louder than it should. For a second, it felt awkward. Then strange. Then heavy. Because when someone refuses to react, you don't know where you stand anymore. The arena buzzed, unsure whether to laugh again or wait. And in that pause, in that thin slice of time, something changed. The air felt tighter, like everyone was holding their breath without realizing it. Because whatever was about to happen next was already written on Steven's face. Calm. Certain. Unmoved. And when calm meets mockery, only one of them survives the moment. Do you think silence is a weakness, or the most dangerous kind of confidence? The arena was packed. Lights overhead. Seats filled. Energy bouncing off the walls. An international martial arts expo. Loud and restless. Everyone waiting for something real to happen. Jason Statham stood near the center. Loose shoulders. Easy posture. Comfortable. Like this wasn't new to him. People recognized him instantly. Whispers moved faster than sound. Phones were already up. He fed off it without trying. Confidence like that doesn't need permission. Steven Seagal stood a few steps away. No spotlight. No movement meant to impress. Just standing there. Still. The contrast was obvious. Jason paced slightly, rolling his neck, smiling to the crowd like this was entertainment. Like the moment already belonged to him. Steven didn't mirror any of it. No pacing. No stretching. No performance. That made some people uneasy. Jason glanced over again, scanning him top to bottom. No flashy gear. No aggressive stance. Just calm. Almost detached. Jason scoffed quietly, shaking his head. This is what everyone talks about? He muttered, loud enough to be heard. A few laughs rippled through the seats. Steven stayed where he was. Eyes forward. Breathing slow. You could tell he wasn't ignoring Jason. He just wasn't reacting. And that bothered people more than anger ever could. Jason stepped closer, invading the space a little. Not enough to touch. Just enough to test. He tilted his head. Doesn't look like much, he said, half smiling. Someone in the crowd clapped. Someone else laughed again. Steven didn't shift his feet. Didn't blink fast. Didn't answer. For a moment the noise felt too loud for how little was happening. That's the thing about tension. It grows when nothing moves. Jason exhaled sharply through his nose, amused. He wanted something back. A look. A word. Anything. Steven gave him none of it. Just quiet presence. Like a wall you don't notice until you run into it. People started whispering again, unsure how to read the silence. Some leaned forward. Others folded their arms. The longer it went, the heavier it felt. Jason's smile tightened, just slightly. Not anger. Not yet. More like impatience. He gestured casually, palms open, like explaining something obvious. All that calm stuff, he said. Dismissive. It's for show. Steven finally lifted his eyes. Not fast, not dramatic, just enough. That small movement pulled the room inward. No words followed. And that was the point. Because when one man keeps talking, and the other doesn't need to, everyone starts to feel the difference. Sometimes silence isn't empty. Sometimes it's controlled. The arena waited. Every breath sounded louder. Every second stretched. And without anyone saying it out loud, people could feel it build. Do you think real confidence needs to be loud? Or can you feel it without a single word? Jason stepped in closer. Not rushing, not attacking. Just close enough to make a point. His shoulders were loose. Hands relaxed. Posture casual. The kind of body language that says, I'm not threatened. He smiled again, but this time it wasn't playful. It was dismissive. If this was real, he said, voice carrying easily, you'd already be on the floor. A few people laughed. Not everyone. But enough. Enough to feed the moment. Jason liked that. You could see it. He turned slightly, letting the crowd see his profile, letting the cameras catch it. This was performance to him. Steven stayed where he was. Feet planted, weight balanced, arms loose at his sides. No guard, no stance. That bothered Jason, because it didn't fit the picture in his head. Jason circled half a step, testing angles, testing reactions. Still smiling. You know why people don't believe this stuff? He continued. Because nothing's happening. He shrugged, as if the answer was obvious. Steven's eyes followed him, slow and steady. Not locked, not intense, just aware. The crowd noise shifted. Less laughter now, more murmurs. Jason stopped moving and leaned in slightly. Close enough that only Steven could really hear him. You waiting for permission? He said quietly. Steven finally spoke. His voice didn't rise, didn't carry. It didn't need to. Power doesn't announce itself. That was it. No lecture, no explanation, just one sentence. Some people missed it. Others didn't. Jason heard it. His smile faded for half a second. Just half. Then he laughed again, louder this time, like he was shaking it off. See? He said to the crowd. Poetry. More laughter, but thinner now. Jason's ego kicked in harder. You could feel it. He straightened up, rolled his shoulders once, like he was warming up even though he didn't need to. Energy sharp now. He made a quick, sudden step forward. Not an attack, just a test. A fake move to draw a reaction. Steven didn't flinch, didn't blink fast, didn't step back. Nothing. That's when the mood shifted, because when someone expects you to react, and you don't, it messes with their timing. Jason frowned slightly, then masked it with another grin. Nothing, he said. No defense? He lifted his hands briefly, mimicking a soft, flowing motion, mocking the style. Aikido, right? He added, smirking. Steven said nothing. The silence stretched again. And this time, it wasn't awkward. It was heavy. Jason took another step. This one sharper. The crowd leaned forward. You could hear shoes squeak somewhere in the stands. A cough. Someone whispering. Jason's breathing changed. Not panicked. Just faster. Human explanation. Simple and real. When someone doesn't play the role you expect, your brain starts rushing to fill the gap. Jason didn't like the gap. He wanted control back. So let's be honest, he said, voice tighter now. This works because people let it work. He paused, waiting. Steven's gaze stayed level. Then Jason moved, fast, a sudden lunge, aggressive, confident, committed. He expected resistance. He expected impact. What he didn't expect was how little effort met him. Steven shifted his weight. That was it. No wind-up. No visible force. Just a turn. A small redirection. Jason felt it before he understood it. His balance disappeared. Not violently, not dramatically. Just gone. His forward energy had nowhere to land. His body followed the mistake his ego made. The crowd inhaled as one. Jason tried to recover mid-motion, but it was already too late. Momentum doesn't negotiate. He stumbled, twisted, and dropped hard to the floor. The sound echoed. Then nothing. No cheers. No laughter. Silence. Jason lay there for a second, stunned, staring at the ceiling like he was replaying the moment, frame by frame. Steven stood exactly where he had been. Same posture. Same calm. Like nothing unusual had happened. Jason pushed himself up slowly. His face had changed. No smirk now. No mockery. Just focus. He looked at Steven, searching for the moment he missed. "I didn't even feel it," he said quietly. Steven met his eyes. That's the point. The arena stayed quiet, waiting. Do you think ego makes people rush? Or does discipline teach them when not to move? Everything slowed down. Not like a movie, like real life when your brain can't keep up. Jason moved first. Fast. Sharp. Committed. No hesitation this time. His body went forward with confidence, muscle memory taking over. Momentum doing what it always does when ego gives the signal. Steven didn't step back. Didn't brace. Didn't harden his body. He moved just enough to not be where the force was going. A small shift of the feet. A quiet turn of the shoulders. So small most people missed it. There was no strike sound. No slap. No thud at first. Just air being redirected. Jason's arm met nothing solid. And when force meets emptiness, it keeps going. Steven's hand touched Jason's wrist lightly. Not grabbing. Not squeezing. Guiding. Like correcting a wrong step. At the same time, Steven's body rotated, smooth and controlled, pulling Jason's balance past the point of return. No rush. No tension. Jason's feet scrambled for a fraction of a second. Too late. His center tipped forward. Gravity took over. That's the part people don't expect. The floor doesn't care how strong you are. Jason hit the ground hard. Not violently, not brutally, just clean. The sound echoed once, sharp and final. Then silence. Real silence. The kind where even breathing feels loud. Steven released him immediately. No follow-through, no extra movement. He stepped back half a pace and stood still, exactly where he needed to be. Jason stayed down for a moment. Not hurt, just stunned. His eyes were wide, staring upward, like his brain was replaying what just happened without finding an answer. Around them, nobody moved. No clapping, no cheering. Phones were frozen mid-air. People didn't know how to react, because nothing looked dramatic. And yet everything had changed. Steven's face showed nothing. No pride, no aggression. Just calm. Human explanation. Simple and honest. When something happens without effort, it scares people more than violence. Jason finally pushed himself up on one elbow. Slow. Careful. His breathing was heavier now. Not from pain. From confusion. He looked at his hands, then back at Steven, trying to find the moment he lost control. It wasn't there. Because it never looked like a fight. It looked like a mistake being corrected. Jason got to his feet. No rush. No attitude. The confidence he walked in with was quieter now. Reshaped. He brushed his hand against his side once, more out of habit than need. Then he looked directly at Steven. "I didn't even feel it," he said. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Steven met his eyes. Same calm. Same steady presence. That's Aikido. 2 words. Nothing more. The weight of them settled over the room. People shifted in their seats. Some exhaled without realizing they'd been holding their breath. No one laughed. No one spoke. The silence wasn't awkward anymore. It was respectful. Jason nodded slowly, still processing. Not defeated. Educated. Steven didn't move closer. Didn't explain. Didn't demonstrate again. He didn't need to. The message was already there, sitting in the space between them. Quiet. Unarguable. The arena stayed silent, not because it was told to be, but because no sound felt appropriate. Do you think the most powerful moments are the loud ones, or the ones that leave everyone speechless? The silence stayed. Not the awkward kind, the heavy kind. No one rushed to clap. No one laughed it off. People just sat there, processing what their eyes had seen and what their minds hadn't caught up to yet. Jason stood still. Not frozen. Grounded. His shoulders dropped a little, like tension leaving without permission. He looked around the arena, then back at Steven. The room felt different now. A moment ago, noise felt natural. Now, noise felt wrong. Jason swallowed once. Slow. His jaw tightened, then relaxed. You could see it in his face. The moment when confidence turns into understanding. He wasn't embarrassed. He was recalibrating. That's what realization looks like. He ran a hand through his hair, not dramatic, just human. I didn't even feel it, he said again. Quieter this time. Not repeating for attention. Repeating because his brain still needed confirmation. Steven didn't answer right away. He didn't rush to fill the space. That mattered. Jason nodded to himself, eyes drifting down for a second. When something breaks your expectations without hurting you, your ego doesn't fight, it listens. Jason looked back up. The edge was gone. No sarcasm, no challenge. Just respect forming in real time. Around them, people shifted. Someone lowered their phone. Someone else finally exhaled. Whispers started, but softer now. Not mocking. Curious. Impressed. Jason took a step back, giving space without being told. A small thing. But everyone noticed. Steven's posture stayed the same. Calm. Neutral. Like this wasn't about winning. Jason gave a short nod. Not a bow. Not a show. Just acknowledgement. The kind you give when you realize you were wrong without needing to say it out loud. A few people clapped. Then stopped. It felt premature. The moment wasn't finished yet. Jason looked down at the floor where he'd fallen. Not with anger. With interest. Like he was studying the line where control left him. He shook his head once, almost smiling. Not amused. Humbled. That was clean, he said. No praise. No excuses. Just truth. Steven met his eyes again. No smile. No lecture. Nothing that said, I told you so. That mattered more than words. The crowd leaned in without realizing it. They weren't waiting for another move. They were watching two mindsets collide and settle. Jason's breathing slowed. His stance soft. He wasn't trying to dominate the space anymore. He was sharing it. Silence held them both. Not tense now. Balanced. Steven shifted his weight slightly. Not forward. Not threatening. Just enough to show awareness. Jason noticed. He always did. That's why this landed. People who rely on speed and strength understand movement. They just don't always expect restraint to be stronger. Jason gave a short laugh under his breath. Not mocking. Almost appreciative. He shook his head again. No force, he said quietly. Just timing. Steven nodded once. That was all. The arena felt like it had aged a few years in seconds. Like everyone had learned something they couldn't unsee. Not about fighting. About control. Phones slowly came back up. But differently now. Not hunting drama. Recording respect. Jason turned slightly toward the crowd. Then back to Steven. He didn't say anything else. He didn't need to. The message had already moved through the room. Ego had entered loud. Discipline had answered without raising its voice. And the realization sat there. Undeniable. Shared by everyone watching. Do you think real respect is something you demand? Or something that hits you the moment you understand what just happened? Jason took a slow breath. Not to calm down. To reset. He stepped back another half pace, giving Steven room without being asked. No tension in it. No hesitation. Just instinct adjusting. The crowd noticed. They always do when respect shows up quietly. Jason straightened his posture. Not squared up. Not defensive. Neutral. He looked at Steven again. Steady this time. I was wrong, he said. Not loud. Not dramatic. Clear. That landed heavier than any shout. A ripple moved through the seats. Not cheers yet. Recognition. Steven didn't respond right away. He didn't rush to accept it. He didn't reject it either. He just stood there, calm as before. Jason nodded once more. This one smaller. More personal. When someone admits they were wrong without being forced, the ego isn't gone. It's been trained. Jason shifted his weight, relaxed his shoulders. The aggressive edge was gone now. What replaced it wasn't weakness. It was clarity. A few people clapped, then more joined. Not explosive, measured. Applause that meant something. Steven inclined his head slightly. Not a bow, not submission, acknowledgement. That's all. The room responded instantly. The applause grew, not for impact or dominance, but for control, for restraint. Jason glanced toward the crowd, then back to Steven. He gestured subtly with one hand, almost inviting. Not to fight, to share the moment. Steven didn't step forward. He didn't need to. His presence already filled the space. Jason smiled faintly. Not the earlier grin. This one had no edge. Clean, he said again, under his breath. Steven's eyes softened just a fraction. No smile. Just understanding. Around them, people stood. Some without realizing they had. This wasn't about choosing sides anymore. It was about witnessing something rare. Jason placed his hands at his sides. Open. No fists. No performance. The body language said everything words couldn't. Steven remained still. That contrast stayed powerful. Movement had happened. Now stillness mattered more. The applause settled into a steady rhythm. Respect, sustained. Jason leaned slightly forward, just enough to be seen. A quiet gesture. The kind fighters recognize even if crowds don't. Steven acknowledged it with a small nod. That exchange was enough. No further demonstration. No explanation. Nothing to prove. The room felt balanced again. Not charged. Grounded. People lowered their phones slowly, like they didn't want to break the moment. Jason took another step back, clearing the center. Not retreating. Making space. Steven didn't follow. He didn't take the center either. He let it stay empty. That choice said everything. The applause softened, then returned once more. Warmer this time. Not louder. Deeper. Jason turned slightly, ready to leave the spotlight. Before he did, he paused and looked back once more. No challenge. Just respect. Steven met his eyes and held them. Calm. Unchanged. The resolution wasn't dramatic. That's why it worked. No winner raised their hands. No loser lowered their head. Only two men understanding exactly where they stood. The crowd felt it too. They didn't need instructions. They stood, clapped, and stayed quiet all at once. Because sometimes the strongest ending isn't noise. It's agreement. Do you think real respect is earned through power, or through control when power isn't needed? Real strength doesn't shout. It doesn't rush in to prove itself. It doesn't laugh first. Because when strength is real, it doesn't need permission to exist. What everyone saw wasn't about a move. It wasn't about a style. It wasn't about winning. It was about control. One man tried to dominate the moment. The other let the moment come to him. That difference matters. Ego always wants noise. It wants eyes. It wants reaction. Discipline doesn't. Discipline waits. Most people mistake calm for weakness because they've never learned how dangerous calm can be. Silence isn't empty. It's measured. When someone stays quiet under pressure, it's not because they have nothing to say. It's because they don't need to. That's why the room changed. Not when the body hit the floor, but when no one rushed to celebrate, because deep down, everyone felt it. This wasn't aggression defeating aggression. This was patience absorbing ego. Real power doesn't chase respect. It attracts it. And when respect arrives, it doesn't clap loudly at first. It sits quietly and stays. That's the lesson most people miss. You don't need to announce who you are. You don't need to mock what you don't understand. And you don't need to raise your voice to raise your presence. Confidence that needs validation is already unstable. Confidence that doesn't react is already complete. That's why the moment felt heavy, because everyone recognized something true. Strength that's loud burns out fast. Strength that's calm lasts. In life, not just in fights. At work. In conflict. In relationships. The person who stays centered controls the outcome. When emotions lead, mistakes follow. When awareness leads, damage stays minimal. That's discipline. It doesn't humiliate. It doesn't chase dominance. It ends things before they begin. And the most powerful part? No one had to explain it. Everyone felt it. That's how you know it's real. Because truth doesn't need a speech. It lands. And it stays. Do you believe real strength shows itself in noise? Or in the ability to stay calm when others can't? If this story meant something to you, subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.